G'day and welcome to the Grow a Small Business Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Truen. Each week, we speak with an owner who has grown a business with 5 to 30 team members to something bigger. Diving into their numbers and unearthing the pain they've experienced, we explore what they did to overcome each barrier and what they would do differently from day one. Let's get into it. Welcome, everyone. Today I'm interviewing Leanne Haining from Urban Rituelle based in Sydney, Australia. Thanks for your time today, Leanne.
Thanks so much for having me.
Let's start with how we know each other. So Kirsty Dunphy, who we've had on the cast previously, and she lives here in Tasmania, actually up north, as we like to call it here in Hobart, in Launceston. So she said you might be a good one to have on the cast.
Oh, thank you, Kirsty. Yeah, it's Kirsty's in a group that I meet with monthly on Zoom.
Yeah, she and also Tina Towers in that group, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a fantastic group. There's 6 of us in total, and we get together once a month. It's called the Fierce Friends Society.
Yep, great. Kirsty was raving about it, and Tina was episode 40, and Kirsty was episode 99. So both great interviews.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun.
Yeah, tell our audience a bit about your business, what it does, and how it makes money.
Sure. Urban Rituelle is an award-winning manufacturer of bath, body care, home fragrance and skincare. We established in 1999 and we're 100% Australian-made, family-owned business. We're recognised as an industry in the leader. Leaders in industry. We've been at the gift fairs for 21 years now, and we're really known for our exceptional products and high quality formulations, as well as our beautiful packaging, because we're in the gift industry. One of the things that we really pride ourselves on as well is our unrivaled customer service. So everything that we do, we have our number one value is that we create rituals that make people feel good.
Yep.
So we put that at the top line of everything that we do. So it's always about making sure that the experience with our brand and our company is exceptional.
Yep, great. And how did you start out?
Well, I met Scott, who's my business partner and now husband, traveling in Turkey in the mid-90s. And after returning from Turkey, I went to Sydney College of the Arts and studied ceramics and started really investigating and playing around with the rituals of making. I had a Japanese ceramicist as my lecturer, and he really introduced us to the idea of the ritual of making. So not the end product, but the actual ritual of making. And that then led me to really think about rituals and the rituals of every day. And because the Japanese are very big on their tea ceremonies and the idea of having like one beautiful mug and thinking about the really simple things that make life special. Yeah. So I really hooked onto that idea. And while I was at uni, we started a market stall. So that was really the very first time that we sort of experimented. And we experimented with a whole bunch of different things. We had beads from India, cushions from Thailand. I was selling ceramic oil burners that I'd made at the markets. But I had worked in the sort of health, wellness, beauty space, and I knew someone who suggested that we should try making handmade soaps and selling those at the market. And that was really the pinnacle for us, because what happened with all the other products, there was no return business, no repeat business. So, we were mid-20s, we're just throwing around a whole bunch of ideas. But none of them had repeat business until we started selling the soaps.
Yep.
And what we realized was that every week the same customers would come back to us. So, I really liked that soap. That one was great. I'm going to try this one this week. And we noticed that they'd try one soap, but then they come back in 2 weeks later and they'd buy 2.
Yep.
So that was when we realized that we had something with that particular product. And the other thing that we loved was that it was Australian made and that we were making it ourselves, where of course, the beads from India and the cushions from Thailand, we were bringing them in. So it hit a lot of nails for us. All of a sudden we went, yeah, this is a product for us. So once we knew what product, so we were there for a few years. Once we knew we had a good product, we, with the advice of my dad, he really thought that we could wholesale this product. So we went and did our first trade fair at the Sydney Gift Fair in September of 1999. And that was really the beginning of our wholesale business.
Yep, right. So did the business officially start in 99?
Yeah. So we started doing the market in 1995, but we were just sort of throwing around a whole bunch of ideas. I mean, we must have sold 25 different products, but it was with the soap that we realized that we had something. And we did actually have one wholesale customer from the market before we went to the gift fair. And it was from that so she came to the market and was like, I really love what you do. Can I do this in my store? And we're like, yeah, sure. So we created our little concept for her store. And then we had these timber soap units, and that was what we took to the trade show, these timber soap units filled with soap, and you got the whole package, the timber unit, the soaps, you put it on your counter. And we picked up 50 new accounts at that trade fair that we did, that first trade fair in September 1999. And that's when we went, wow, we've got 50 wholesale accounts, and from all over Australia as well. Yeah. So that's when we really knew that we had a product that was viable as a wholesale business.
Yeah, fantastic. And how old were you in 1999 when you got serious about this?
I was 29.
Yep, great. You have some key numbers you can share to illustrate the growth of the business over the 22 years now?
So I would say that our business is one of very steady, consistent growth. So obviously when you're really small, it's easy to double. You know, when you're only doing 50 grand a year, it's easy to do 100 grand the following year. But if you sort of look at our business, we're 21 years, it's a really solid, you know, sort of once you go over that, you know, first couple of years of doubling, but just a solid sort of 10% growth. So that's what we go for every year, 10% growth. And in a very established business, that's quite consistent. The only time we haven't met that was in the GFC. We didn't go backwards, but we just didn't see any growth in those periods for about 2008, 2010. But yeah, and at the moment we've seen great growth. The last 2 years has been fantastic. So we had our best month in November just gone that the business has ever had. So yeah, it's great.
I was going to ask what the COVID effect was for you guys.
Yeah, it's been incredible, actually. Obviously thought we might fall off a cliff at the time, like everyone did, but for us it's been incredible because all of a sudden the competition, meaning travel, restaurants, all of those things, even going to the movies, all of those things which are competition to our business, in a sense, you either might buy candles and home body care products or go out to dinner.
Yep.
Yeah, all of a sudden our product was about the only thing that you could do. And luckily we're quite diverse because we're online retailers, we're manufacturers, we're exporters, we've got our own bricks and mortar store. So when the bricks and mortar store closed and our customers closed, then online retail, who we supply as well, took off. So we supply online retailers, plus we're online retailers ourselves.
Yep.
So when one door closed, another one exploded. So and it's been sort of consistent through both. And then at the very beginning of the COVID situation, we were one of the first to go into hand sanitizers because we manufacture our own products. We had ingredients on hand, we had bottles on hand, we had caps on hand, we had fragrance. So we had all of those things. So we had sanitizers out. Like we had doctors and hospitals and nurses and schools buying sanitizer. That's how early we were.
Wow, fantastic. Yeah. And was it just you and Chris starting out, so 2 full-time equivalents?
Yes, so Scott and I started the business together from the very beginning. So once we did that trade fair, we knew that we had something. And then, you know, Scott prior to that was working full-time. He gave that up. So once we did that trade fair and had the 50 wholesale customers, we went, right, we've got something here. And then it was just the two of us doing everything. We just, you know, worked out of our home.
Yep.
We bought a property and lived in the property, and we put a 6-car garage in, and that was our manufacturing facility and warehouse. And you know, you go, let me just put you through to the warehouse, and I'll hold on, he's on a forklift, but of course we didn't have a forklift. So let me put you through to accounts. Hold on, that's me. And that was literally. That was the 6-car carport that we put on the back in our backyard at the time. So that was how we started. And then the first people that we got on were all casuals to help us pick and pack orders and manufacture. That was the first sort of team that we put on.
And so what would your full-time equivalents be up to now?
20.
20, great.
Yeah, at the moment.
Fantastic growth,
Yeah.
When was the moment you felt like you'd succeeded?
There's been lots, actually. I mean, the first one would be obviously when we sold those soaps. You know, we'd been selling, like, if you go all the way back to like 1998, when we were desperately trying to start our own business, and it was that moment of, oh my God, we've got repeat customers.
Yeah.
It was just like, wow, people coming back to us. This is amazing. Selling those first 50 units at the trade fair that we went to, actually picking up 50 brand new accounts, which we had no idea what we were doing. And that was pretty exciting. Exhibiting in a trade show in New York. So that was exciting. We had 80 road reps in America representing us from coast to coast throughout the USA. We're actually at the New York gift show. We won Best New Product as well. We were stocked in Anthropology, which is one of my favorite retailers in the world. So that was pretty exciting because we're now on the global market.
Yep.
This year we won the International Beauty Shortlist Awards, which is a very prestigious award for our candles, which was amazing, and our hand cream. And this year we were selected by the Australian Olympic Committee to have our products in the village in Tokyo for the Australian athletes.
Wow.
And so our products were picked to make the athletes feel at home.
Yep.
So that was incredible. And we actually had Jess Fox was there, and she did some footage of our products in the village, and we could see it there. So that was amazing. And one of the great things I would say is that at the moment I'm still working from home. So even though everyone's back in the office, I've actually maintained working from home, which is something I've wanted to do for about 10 years. And the team are running the business. They're all doing what they should be doing. They know what they should be doing. I'm not getting in their road. And I'm happy because I'm working at home in the quiet and the business is humming. So, that to me is like the ultimate success.
I had a guest on who said he's such a control freak, literally from day one. This is years before COVID. He said, I'm going to work from home. Maybe a few months he was in the office and realized his control freakness was getting in the way. So he said, I'll leave you guys to it. I'm going to work from home. Otherwise, I'm just going to micromanage everyone.
Well, that's definitely what we have a tendency to do, because you're so and it's our management team is fairly new as well, in the sense that it's it's something that we've just put into place. But Scott and I have been involved in everything. Last year, Scott and I packed orders in the warehouse for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Because we were busy and shit needed to get done. So Scott and I did it. So we're very, very hands-on, and we've always, I suppose, rescued everyone, and we're always there. So any question, it's just easy to go and ask Leanne and Scott. So the real success now is that through putting in a management team, like a middle management team. And so we've got 3 team leaders, and they manage the 3 key parts of the business: inventory, warehouse, and sales. And it's just allowed the business to hum. And, it's been a huge success. And we wanted that to happen for a long time. So, yeah.
How long ago did you put the management team in?
Probably close to 2 years. So it's it's just something. And so prior to that, we were definitely having issues because we had, we go from 15 to 20 staff, depending on periods, but they were all reporting into Scott and I. And so you've got all of these people constantly coming to you all day, like a revolving door for every little tiny thing, nearly about, should we order toilet paper? Like it was just, And so in a sense, you're not doing a great job managing, and it's all over the place. You're throwing things up in the air and they're falling everywhere. So now we've got this middle management team, and we've got teams, like we've literally got a sales team, and we've got a production team and a warehouse team, and they know who they report to. And then only those 3 people now report to us. So it's changed the way we do business.
That's good. And did that idea come about because of COVID, or were you already working on it just before COVID?
Oh, we were working on it, but we just didn't have the right people and probably the right support. So in the sense that, like, the right support from outside the business to really tell Scott and I that, it was the right decision and we needed to do it. But we also didn't have the people sort of in the team. And but we've taken, so now we do. Some of the people have come from within the team. And so it's been it's been amazing.
What does success look like to you?
For me, success is living an intentional life where I actually planning my days and making sure I'm doing awesome things. I like adventure, not just like in the day-to-day, just drudgery. I actually like to plan and have adventure and do exciting things. So if I'm doing that, I'm successful. Definitely family is really important to me. So I really like to know that I can do family and business successfully. One without the other is not good for me. And then the other part of success for me is like a really happy and fulfilled team. So when they're firing, I'm firing.
Yeah, great. Number one thing you'd recommend to marketing a fast-growing business?
I think make it authentic. So one of the things that I think is that if you're looking at your competition and worrying about what they're doing or trying to copy what they're doing, then you just get lost in the crowd. But if you're unique and authentic and put your own thumbprint on it, then you'll stand out from the crowd.
Yeah, that's good advice. How did you fund the business?
Completely self-funded. So with this, quite steady, consistent growth, particularly the first 2 years working out of home, made it really easy in the sense that we didn't have a lot of overheads.
Yep.
So it allowed us to then buy our first commercial property, so we moved out of the 6-car garage and moved into the commercial property that we owned. And then we bought another commercial property in the same complex, again, because we'd had that really that head start by working at home.
Yep.
But really it was just all our own capital, just slow, steady, consistent growth with good management all along.
So no investors and no bank finance, apart from obviously buying property. I assume you leverage bank finance.
Yeah. And we've got a small overdraft because we have peaks and troughs. So we have an overdraft. I mean, there's been times where we've had to actually lend the business money personally, but that all came about through the GFC. Yeah.
If you were to start up today with plenty of funding, would you go into your industry?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's so much potential in our industry. Health, wellness and beauty is an ever-growing industry. I think it's more and more people are concerned about health and mindfulness and wellness. And I also think having an Australian-made product, I think globally there's a huge interest in Australian-made products and Australian manufacturing.
Can you outline the most stressful point in your small business growth journey so our audience can learn from it?
Yeah, definitely the entry into the USA and the GFC. So we went into the USA in about 2007.
I had timing.
Yeah. If you had had a crystal ball, you might have not done that. I had 2 babies in nappies, one about 6 months, one about 2. So we had, at the time, we had 80 road reps in America. We were doing 8 trade shows in America plus 3 in Australia. We had 2 businesses. We had warehousing in LA, warehousing in Sydney, Australia. We had the 2 different time zones. The road reps in America wanted to do 2 a.m. calls to get training. They wanted, they'd go, oh, can we get 80,000 catalogs? We were used to printing 2,000 catalogs. So it was just crazy. And then the GFC happened. So we were going quite well. We're doing about $1 million in sales and revenue, but the expense was just off the Richter. It was just crazy. 80,000 catalogs was like $80,000. It was so expensive. Wow. So, and then the GFC hit. So we were at the New York trade show exhibiting and we had been doing quite well. And then all of a sudden people were coming along going, oh, you could take $50 this week out of my credit card and $50 next week out of my credit card and $50 next week out of my credit card. And I'm standing at this trade show thinking, you've got to be kidding. I've got 2 kids at home in nappies and I'm standing here with people that are going to give me $50 a week to pay off a $400 order. Yeah. And we were doing $3,000, $4,000 orders for every order in Australia. And but at that point we had at probably about $500,000 of stock in LA and a lot of commitments. So it was a shit show. Yeah. So did you assume you backed out of the US then? Yeah, we did. So we actually found some new financial help at that time. So advice and, cried and, got the tail between the legs and then just, very strategically shut it down because it was hemorrhaging money. But the Australian business was doing quite well because that, through the GFC, our business was still okay. Yeah. And so you haven't gone back to the US or you use a distributor there now? Or? No. Forever scarred. Yep. What area in business do you feel you've had to work on the most to add the greatest value? Probably there's 3 things. HR would be the biggest thing because it didn't come naturally to me. So it's easy to manage, good people, really easy. Like good people are easy to manage, but it's sometimes that was something I had to really learn, and I had to learn how to be a leader and how to not just be everyone's friend. So that was a big learning, and then of course making sure that your product's amazing and that your marketing's great. Yeah, great. What have you enjoyed least about managing fast growth? Learning how to manage people. And again, not the easy people, the difficult people. Yep. And I suppose just the never ending attention that it takes. Yeah. Definitely I think that there were times when our social circle were doing things that then we wouldn't go. We're like, oh, we can't go. We're too tired. We're too busy. We're doing something tomorrow. We're working at a trade show, all of those things. So I think, and certainly in the early days with the family, we were very dedicated to the business and had to outsource the kids a bit. But they're okay.
That's good. And what to become a better manager, what resources did you use or just learnt through experience making mistakes?
Well, that's probably one of the reasons that I joined the different mentoring groups, was so I could learn how to be a better manager, because I was spending all of my time with my team. So they were never going to teach me how to be a better manager. So it was through that. And then I met with these different groups of women who were all managing people. And I thought, well, if I surround myself with people who are doing this work, then I'm going to be able to learn from them. And that's essentially what happened. So it was just through putting myself out there. And I knew that that's what I needed to do, was to learn how to manage people, because the business could only be as good as the leader that I was. Yep,
that's it. What do you love most about growing a small business?
The freedom to do what I want to do, definitely. If I want to do something, I can just change my mind and make it happen quickly, which is something that when I get an idea, I'm like, let's make it happen. We often get called urgent ritual, because if we have a good idea, it's like, when you want to do it, I'm like, now, like 2 minutes ago. And just obviously the excitement, it's never boring. It's never dull. There's always something awesome just around the corner, and there's so many opportunities. And I also really like I've normally been able to travel with work, so I can travel overseas for inspiration, travel around Australia meeting customers, and obviously the financial freedom that it gives you having your own business. And also being able to build a great team of people. As much as the HR was one of my challenging one of the more challenging parts of the business, it's also one of the most rewarding. So now that we've got this great management team in place, it's actually extremely rewarding.
Yeah. What has been the biggest mindset shift for you in your small business growth journey?
So I spoke to you about this before, is actually about letting the leadership team do what they do best. So not micromanaging them and being involved in every decision they make. So by removing myself and stepping out of the day-to-day of the business, that it's actually allowed our leadership team to thrive and make decisions, and it's better for everyone. Everyone's happy and the business is going great. So just letting people run their departments, building a great team. And
what is the number one habit you think a small business owner needs to develop and maintain?
I think the number one habit would be to set KPIs and targets and goals with timelines and deadlines. So that's been a really big thing for us. So since the GFC, we've had really clear KPIs with our numbers, but then even with our projects, we're really clear about what it is that we want to achieve with dates and who's responsible. So just, goal setting, targets and timelines.
Want to become the best manager you can be? Check out our Kick-Ass Manager course at growasmallbusiness.com. Do the course and add your fellow managers for no extra cost. Join the 30%. 70% of people quit their job because of their manager.
Can you talk to how you've added people to the team, some wins, mistakes and advice for those listening?
So initially we were very casual in our recruiting process. So it really was employing people who I thought we'd have a good time with.
Yeah.
Remembering I was like 28, 29 and 30, I'm like, I think that'll be fun. We'll go out, we'll go to the pub and it'll be awesome. Yep. And that was pretty much how I employed people. And in the early days, we obviously couldn't afford team leaders and managers. And I think that's been one of the things about a more mature business that you now actually have, particularly as well the last couple of years, we've been able to invest more into our team. Mm-hmm. So in the early days, we had no middle management, and I employed people that I thought I could go and have a party with. And I think, so the biggest mistakes came as well from not having difficult conversations when they needed to be had, and not addressing problems when they arose. So I would just let that simmer. And of course, what that meant is that the problems never get fixed. So the biggest advice that I would have is that, because I knew I needed help for me in that particular area. So Scott and I are very kind and very easygoing, and so we needed someone to actually give us more structure. So we engaged the services of an external HR company, and then they helped us recruit and manage the team, and then they helped us update all of our HR admin. And they also backed us and told us that, we always thought, we're doing the wrong thing as managers or leaders if you came down a little bit hard or if you're a little bit firm. And they really told us that, no, that was actually our role in the business. And they guided us and made us realise that, no, that was actually okay.
Yeah. Do you want to give a shout out to the HR?
Yeah, we're using Impact HR at the moment, and they're fantastic, yeah.
I've had Ed, the founder of Employee Shore, on the cast. They're the biggest employer on the cast so far, just over 1,000 employees, I think 1,050. So
yeah, we actually used Employee Shore initially. So and then we moved to a more boutique.
Yes, yeah. What are some things you recommend to building a sustainable and kick-ass culture to help with the growth?
Well, we communicate very clearly with our team about our values and expectations. And one of the things that we say all the time, as I mentioned to you before, is that we create rituals that make people feel good. And we just say it over and over and over again. So it doesn't matter what it is, whether it be a product or marketing or customer service or customer care or problem solving. It's, if there's a faulty product, what do? We make people feel good. So we just have that number one sort of headline, and it just means that everyone knows how to fix a problem or how to talk to a customer or even how to talk to a teammate. And it also gives us the ability to say, does this make people feel good, right or wrong? And then it helps guide decisions. So that's something that we just talk about nonstop. And we talk about it in meetings. I mentioned before, as managers, Scott and I, we lead with kindness and understanding. And we expect our team to do the same. So that's really important to us. We have a morning huddle every day at the same time, every single day, where we check in with each other, look at each other in the eyes, and we, communicate with each other, just so you can see if someone's workload is, too much, or if there's a problem. You can just tell by looking at people in the face, and each other, we all can tell. So that's been really important. We then have fortnightly team meetings, which are more about what's happening coming up, so we can give everyone an idea of what's coming up in the next couple of months. We've got a team WhatsApp group, which is like our fun thing. We're doing Elf on a Shelf and all sorts of funny things, just like fun. Some of them were a bit rude, but they were very funny. We celebrate our wins, and we also acknowledge each other's success. So everyone in the business gets acknowledged, and often by other team members, which is something that I think creates a great culture. We've got really clear goals, and we're really honest with them, with the team, and we communicate what those goals are, who's responsible, the timelines, and how we're going to get there. And we also acknowledge that we all have different skill sets. So, the person that's doing our accounts has got a very different skill set than, the person that's doing our customer care, to the person that's making our products in production, so that everyone's got something different that they bring to the business. And it's through all of those different skill sets that we achieve success. So we talk about that regularly as well. So there's sort of no real hierarchy. Everyone's really valued, and their different skill sets are really valued. And we have fun. And I think the biggest thing is that we share and acknowledge success. Yeah.
Well, Leanne, you and Scott have nailed culture. I wouldn't add much more to what you've just Tell our audience how you've handled balance.
Well, I like to exercise 5 times a week at least. I try to do yoga, I walk on the beach, and I swim in the ocean. One of the things that I started over COVID was swimming in the ocean in winter, because I couldn't get adventure. So I thought I'd throw myself into the 15 degrees water. Lucky I'm in Sydney and not Tasmania.
Yes. You do the Wim Hof method.
Oh, yeah. I actually had a cold shower this morning. Scott reminded me, he goes, have you had a cold shower lately? I was like, oh, conveniently forgotten. I don't work weekends unless it's a full-on crisis, or there's a trade fair or something planned. But generally, I just don't work weekends. I don't work after dinner. After dinner, I knock off. And Scott and I have recently got better at dividing business and work. So we've been together 25 years. We've been in business 21 years. We work together, parent together. And one of the things that we used to do was we would discuss business all day, in the kitchen, in the bathroom, in the shower, cleaning your teeth, like non-stop. But one of the things that we realized was that it was always about problems. Mm-hmm. So we weren't sort of going, oh, wow, how awesome is this? Isn't this fantastic? It was always problems. So one of the things that we realized is if we address the problems, that we don't actually have to talk about it over the kitchen bench or in the shower or cleaning our teeth. So I identified in the last sort of 2 years, we had a change of culture, a bit of a change of team, put in the leadership team, and a lot of the problems have gone. And so we don't have to talk about it at home anymore, which is good.
It's great. And how much professional development have you invested in yourself? Sounds like a bit.
Yeah, so what I've done, I did a little bit of coaching probably 10 years ago around that time of the USA expansion, because again, the business just grew so quickly, 80 road reps, a really big learning curve for us. And I was 37 at the time. So it was a lot. I didn't have any other experience. So when that happened, I realized that I needed to surround myself with people that could help me. So I did a little bit of one-on-one coaching, which was awesome. But really, when I started with these 2 self-facilitating groups of these amazing business women, 2 very different groups, but all amazing, incredible women. And that has been life-changing for me. So essentially around me, I have 14 women who all individually are running their own businesses, who've all got a completely different skill set. We're really open, completely honest, tell each other the good, the bad, and the ugly, and therefore you can learn from that. And then we give each other, we don't tell each other how to do things, but maybe just give you a different way to look at something, or share some previous experience that might open up some ideas on how to problem solve, or even on how to grow or how to expand. Not always problem solving, actually about how to get growth, how to improve. And so those groups, I meet monthly with both of the groups. So one of them is 4 hours a week. 4 hours a month, and the other one's an hour a month.
Yep.
And it's really, the support and advice has changed the way that I run the business. I attend business events and conferences annually, and I listen to podcasts when I walk on the beach. Some mostly business, not all, but always just about people who are living, outside the comfort zone, doing something different, thinking about things differently.
Yep.
I do online courses. I have an exercise bike, and I get on with my phone and do online courses on the exercise bike. So, just always trying just different things. I'm about to do a masterclass on shares and investing with Mel Brown as well.
Okay, right. Yeah. Great. That's a lot of professional development. Well done. And what about mentors or coaches? Got anything you want to say there for the audience?
Well, I did do that a while ago. As I said, I had some individuals, but I feel at the moment, to be honest, I'm getting everything I need from these groups. So, if I didn't have those groups, I would definitely be doing that. But I'm getting so much from these self-facilitated groups.
Yeah. Yeah, great. Do you have a board of directors or advisors?
Well, the women on that group, in those groups, I would call the unofficial board of directors and advisors. And then I have really strong relationship with my external financial team, and we have quarterly meetings with them. So they are very strong in their advice, financially.
Yep. Great. Well, Leanne, we're on to our final 5 questions. What do you think is the hardest thing in growing a small business?
That it doesn't ever turn off, that it's 24/7, every day, every week, every month, every year. And it was definitely learning how to manage a team. That was quite challenging.
Yeah. Favorite business book which has helped you the most?
Everything is Figure Outable.
Never heard of that one.
Marie Forleo.
Okay.
And it's just basically everything is figure outable. Basically, everything's got an answer. I just love that. It's so simple. It wasn't brain surgery. I was like, oh my God, it's such a good attitude to have.
Yeah. I'm going to add that one to the list.
Yeah, it's good.
Any great podcasts or online learning tools you use for your own professional development?
Yeah, I really like the podcast One Wild Ride by Prue Chapman. So she talks about creative entrepreneurs who are, about their personal adventures, their creative journey, and usually how they're making a positive impact in their business and doing good business. I'm really interested in how people are doing good business and business that gives back.
Yep. One tool you'd recommend to help grow a small business?
The morning huddle with the team.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, checking in with each other every day. You'll get so much from that.
Final and my favorite question, what would you tell yourself on day one of starting out?
Surround yourself with amazing people who know more than you do and that are willing to help and share advice. Don't be scared of difficult conversations. And if you don't address the problems, they won't go away.
Great. Terrific advice. Thanks, Leanne. I think the audience got a lot of value out of what you shared with us today, and wonderful journey. You and Scott starting late 1999 or the late 90s. And now you've got around 20 full-time equivalents. And that's a consistent 10% growth. And obviously the last couple of years, thanks to COVID, a bit more. So well done to you both and the wider team.
Thank you so much. It's been great. Really enjoyed it.
And for our audience, we would greatly appreciate a review in iTunes or whatever platform you listen to us on. More reviews means we bubble up higher in iTunes, etc. So more business owners looking for podcast help with their growth will find us.